You gave her everything: your time, your heart, your undivided attention. You showed up when she needed you, stayed when others left, and made her feel special in ways no one else had. You thought that was the formula. Be good to her, be kind, be consistent. And yet, she drifted. She pulled away slowly at first, then all at once. And now, you're left staring at your own reflection, asking the question that burns silently in every man who loved too deeply too soon: what did I do wrong? The truth is, you didn't fail her by being too soft, too loving, or too available. You failed to see that female desire doesn't ignite through security alone. A woman doesn't fall for how much you give. She falls for how you make her feel. She needs to feel your presence, not your performance, your energy, not your effort. She doesn't consciously realize it, but safety without tension becomes dull. Love without space becomes suffocating. We're trying to win her by being everything she said she wanted, but she craved something deeper, something she couldn't articulate. Mystery, polarity, the unspoken gravity of a man who doesn't need to prove himself. There's a kind of man she can't forget, the one who stands in silence yet says everything through his grounded presence, the man whose calm doesn't chase, whose stillness feels more intimate than any words. That man, he doesn't panic when she pulls away, doesn't beg for her attention. He breathes. He lets her go if he must, knowing that true connection isn't about convincing, it's about being. You gave everything, but maybe it's time to stop giving and start becoming. Because when you become that man, she won't just remember you, she feel your absence like a shadow that never quite fades. Calm isn't boring, it's magnetic. Most men think that to impress a woman, they need to be loud, expressive, constantly entertaining. But the man who truly draws her in doesn't rush to fill silence. He doesn't speak just to be heard. He understands that calmness is a signal of power, not a lack of interest. A calm man holds space not just for her, but for himself. When she gets emotional, he doesn't flinch. When she pushes, he doesn't chase. He listens, he breathes. And in that stillness, she feels something most men can't offer: emotional safety. Not the kind that comes from endless validation, but the deeper kind that's felt in presence. She starts to wonder why she feels so grounded around him, why her nervous system quiets without him saying a word. His calmness becomes a gravitational force, a silent magnet pulling her toward him. While others try to match her emotional storms, he stays centered, showing her through his energy that he's not there to react, he's there to remain, in that quiet strength. It's irresistible. She may not be able to explain it, but her body knows. It softens, it trusts, it leans in. He doesn't need to prove he's unshakable. He simply shows it. That stillness, that breath between words, tells her more than 1,000 texts ever could. It says, I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to experience you with no rush, no need, no performance. And in a world full of noise and chasing and proving that presence feels rare, it feels like truth. She doesn't consciously register it, but her instincts do. She feels safe in a way she hasn't in a long time, and not because he tried to make her feel it, because he lives it. Most men believe that the more they give, the more she will stay. They think constant messages, compliments, and availability will win her heart. But what they don't realize is that desire doesn't grow in closeness, it grows in distance. When you're always there, always responding, always making sure she knows how much you care, you remove the space where longing lives. She doesn't have the chance to reach for you because you're already too close. She can't miss you if you never step away. Real desire is born in the ache of absence, in the quiet tension of not knowing everything. It's not about playing games, it's about understanding rhythm. When you pull back, not out of frustration or punishment, but from a place of strength and purpose, you create a void. And in that void, she starts to feel, she wonders where you are, what you're thinking, why she hasn't heard from you. And that wondering, that silent spaces where desire begins to breathe. Women fall for men whose presence feels intentional, not constant. When you stop overwhelming her with energy and instead offer it with care, you become more than just another man trying to win her. You become a presence she can't easily access, and that rarity makes you valuable. She doesn't want someone who's always available. She wants someone who chooses to show up with meaning. When you create space, you allow her to remember you, to yearn for you, to desire your presence on her own. And when she reaches out, it's not because you chased it, it's because your absence reminded her of your worth. That's the difference. That's where attraction lives. Not in proximity, but in the space between two people who are strong enough to stand apart and still feel each other. Subtlety is the language of deep attraction. Most men try to impress a woman by over-explaining, oversharing, or constantly declaring their emotions. But what actually pulls her in isn't what you say, it's what you don't say. A glance held for half a second longer than normal. A pause. In the middle of a conversation. A half smile that leaves her wondering what's behind it. These are the things that linger in her mind, the quiet moments that replay in her thoughts long after you've walked away. A man who understands subtlety understands that fantasy doesn't grow from clarity, grows from curiosity. When you tell her everything you feel, when you explain every motive, you remove the space where her imagination lives. But when you leave pieces incomplete just enough for her to wonder, you become a story in her head. It's not a finished one, but one she wants to keep reading. Let your actions whisper instead of your words shouting. Let your silence raise questions, not give answers. You don't need to explain your intentions when your energy already speaks for you. A subtle man doesn't rush. He doesn't reveal everything at once. He lets her feel the heat behind his restraint. And that restraint, that ability to be fully present without being fully exposed, builds tension. The kind that keeps her engaged without even knowing why. It's not about hiding who you are. It's about revealing just enough to make her lean in, curious, wanting more. When you master subtlety, you stop trying to impress and start becoming unforgettable. Because she may not remember every word you said, but she will remember how it felt to be around you. Not knowing exactly where she stood, but craving the moment she finally would. That's the kind of presence that stays. Words are easy. Anyone can say the right thing, promise the world, speak with perfect timing. But a woman doesn't truly respond to words. She responds to energy. You could say all the right things. But if your energy is off, if your body is tense, your tone uncertain, your eyes desperate for approval, she will feel it, and she won't trust it. She may not know why, but something won't sit right. That's because words without grounded energy are hollow. But the man who is centered in himself, he doesn't need to say much at all. His presence speaks for him. His tone is calm, his movements unforced, his gaze steady. He's not trying to sell himself, he's simply being. And that being, that embodied stillness, tells her everything she needs to know. It says, I know my value. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to connect if it's right. That kind of energy is rare, and because it's rare, it's magnetic. Women don't want perfection. They don't need poetry. They want to feel the truth in you. They want to feel your calm in the chaos, your certainty in the unknown. And when she tests you, which she will, it's not to break you. It's to feel how solid you really are. Can you hold your center when emotions rise? Can you stay grounded? When she pushes, most men collapse here. They react, explain, overcorrect. But the man whose energy leads doesn't flinch. He listens, breathes, and responds, not to fix, not to please, but to remain true to himself. And that emotional control, that steady force, becomes something she leans into without even understanding why. When your energy is rooted, your presence becomes unforgettable. And in a world full of men who speak too much and feel too little, you'll stand out simply by being real.